Hey y'all, keeping this one short, sweet, and to the point. Um, Eternals, new movie from Marvel. Not a fan. At most, I give it like 4, possibly 5 out of 10. Not that it was like just horrible, horrible. It's just way too much stuff for being a person who actually knows what the source material is. There's just way too much stuff that's different and changed for me to accept it as it is. As a movie that's supposed to be based on comic books, but they messed up the entire story. The Eternals in the comics are not okay. Well, first of all, spoiler warning for those that haven't seen it. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning for the Eternals. Spoiler warning. Cool. The Eternals in this movie are they're a friend of mine actually compared them similar to a Vision. They're synthetic life forms that have real emotions and feelings and a conscience and everything, which is not what they are in the comics. Like, yes, in the comics they are created by the Celestials, which that's another thing that pissed me off about that movie. They made the Celestials look all weird and spindly when they already showed them before in Guardians of the Galaxy, and they looked as they should, like basically just like they do in the comics. They now how they look in the Eternals, they look like these weird spindly aliens for some reason. Don't get it. Sorry about that, phone. Yeah, I don't understand why they did that, but it's just they did a whole lot. Like, they gender swapped a lot of the characters, which I know some people are gonna say, well, they gender swapped them in the comics, and that's another one of the problems. Um, the explanation that they used in the comics is just this random thrown out explanation of, oh, every 20,000 years or so the Eternals like to change gender and change their appearance and everything. That's never been mentioned at any point in the Eternals history. Like, since their debut up to now, it's been like 50 years. That's never been mentioned a single time. But now, because the movies are impacting the comic books more than the comics are impacting the movies, now because Makari was actually casted by a black woman who is non-hearing, they made Makari in the comics a black woman who is non-hearing. And Ajak, who has always been a man, who always been male in the comics, is now a woman in the comics. And that character, they pretty the character of Ajak has always been their role has always been to be the liaison and communicator between the Celestials and the Eternals, who are supposed to be from Earth, not from a completely different planet. They're those Eternals that are Icarus, Cersei, Ajak, Druid, Makari, Phastos. All of them are supposed to be from Earth, not some random other planet. They just were sent to Earth and decided to stay there. They're all from Earth because there's Eternals and Deviants for pretty much every planet the Celestials have went to. That's what they do. They go to planets, they grab some of their life forms there, or make life forms there, and they end up making 3 different types. The regular types, which would be like the base humans in the Marvel Universe, Eternals, which are, the Eternals, and the Deviants, which end up coming from like failed experiments. But they have that at like every planet that they've ever gone to, basically. They have that. They changed all of that. That's not a thing. That's not really a thing anymore. The deviants are now just some thing that they made or a failed experiment they have to get rid of. It doesn't make any sense. It's just it's as a person, just any a good friend of mine, my buddy Dave, actually just said something like that. Marvel is making their movies for bandwagon fans, which I completely agree with that. Not all the time, but definitely not for the case of Eternals. I do agree with that they are making movies for bandwagon fans. Sorry, 1 second. I lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, they're uh, they're changing stuff they really shouldn't be changing in these movies. Like for, I got no problem with representation, but I feel like representation just for the sake of representation is just pandering. Like I feel like certain stuff was done for no reason. Like there was no reason to make Fastos gay. Didn't see the point in it. That character has literally never had a sexual relationship with like anybody outside of one unnamed woman that he had a wife when Sprite, who was also a male, um, what is it? When Sprite like wiped all the Eternals' mind and made them think they were humans. Yeah, he had a wife. That's the only time he's ever had any kind of relationship. Outside of that, he's focused on other stuff. But if they wanted to do, wanted to have a gay relationship, they could have Makari and Cersei be together, since that's an actual relationship that happened in the comics. Makari and Cersei were together, or you know, anybody else. But they had no reason. I feel like they just really wanted to make the black guy gay. Like I feel like they really wanted to do that. Instead, they could have just kept Makari as a man, or if they really wanted to have the whole gay love thing. Which, do not get me wrong, I have absolutely nothing against the LGBTQ community or anything like that. I just feel like Marvel and a lot of these other places are here just doing shit just like they have a little checklist of shit they have to make sure that they put it just to make sure we don't want to get sued or get any backlash or hear any influences or anything saying any bad things about it. So we got to make sure we get a gay and a possibly handicapped or disabled, uh, someone on the spectrum possibly, someone of color or ethnicity. Like I feel like that's all these movies are doing now. They're just trying to make sure that they cover certain bases and they don't actually give a shit about the actual source material. And how they make a big deal like, oh, this is our first deaf superhero and stuff. Like I feel like the only reason you guys are trying to make a big deal out of that is to say you made a big deal out of it. Like, do not get me wrong. Lauren Ridloff, the lady that plays Makari in Eternals, I like her. Like some of you will probably notice, like that's the same woman from The Walking Dead, and she, for a person that is just signing, damn, is she a good actor? Like I fuck with her. Okay, so there's nothing against her or anybody else. I feel like this is just Marvel and Disney, more than anything, just being on trash. Like, and then the way what really pissed me off as an actual person that reads comics, what really pissed me off more than anything was they changed the deviants. They made them look like they look like symbiotes almost, with how like weird and tentacle they look, which that's not how the deviants look, because deviants look like Thanos. And if for those of you that have seen the movie and saw the post credit scene or saw it on YouTube or anything like that, Thanos has a brother who's also an Eternal who looks like a normal person, just like the rest of the Eternals. Because Thanos' deviant gene is what kicked in and made him all huge and purple like that. Okay, the rest of the deviants, they don't look like that guy, and the deviant leader Crow in the comics, which is who that main deviant that they were fighting the whole movie was. He doesn't look anything like that whatsoever. That's not what he looked like. That wasn't his story. That completely changed his origin and everything about him. And I don't understand why they did that when they literally just had the perfect backstory already set up to use, just right there from the comics. I'm okay. I'm fine with the gender swaps. I'm fine with you adding in unnecessary romance, like unnecessary gay romance, and unnecessary uh, heterosexual romance between Makari and Druid. Like I feel like the only reason they made her female was to have that relationship with Druid. Like there was no point in it at all. But hey, I'm fine with it. Got Lauren Ridloff some more spotlight. No, I'm cool with that. But I feel like they're doing stuff just to do it, like the whole making them synthetics and stuff, like making them like they're basically cyborgs or androids. I feel like that whole thing was for no reason. They could have easily just used their actual backstory and be like, yeah, uh, Eternals, humans, deviants such as Thanos, all came from the same place. Like Thanos wasn't like a deviant. He's an Eternal whose deviant gene just kicked in, which is why his brother looks totally normal. His mom looks normal, and his dad looks normal, but he looks weird. It's like if if everybody in your family member had, is totally normal, and then you happen to have a sibling that just has like really bad eczema or something like that. Like we all, carry the gene. It's just active in them or something like that. Like it's something like that. It's not just where like cool. He's an entirely different species or something. But yeah, I feel like Marvel is just trying to change way too much and it's trying to just cater to the bandwagon people and it's trying to just instead of actually taking care of their fans like they should, they're just trying to hope to bring in everybody else who doesn't really care. And just like, I want to see it because it's a Marvel movie, not because I want to see it because I grew up reading this. Like, this is a comic that I loved as a child or something, so now I'm going to see it. No, they're just trying to be flashy and fanatic and get all this, hype from just being a Marvel movie. Like how Batman does. Like, a lot of times when just people hear there's a Batman movie coming out, that's all they're worried about. Is like it's the Batman movie, not the fact that it's like not who's in it, not what the story is going to be based on, what it's from. Just it's another Batman movie, so I have to see it. Like it's just based off of the name alone. They're hoping to get people to draw in it, but it's alienating their actual core fan base of people that that are actual like comic book readers, which is where Marvel got to start. And without them, what Marvel be in the first place. But yeah, I got a couple issues. Now, the only thing I will say that I did like really about about the movie is that it seems with like Cersei's power seeming like grew, and so it seems like they can self actualize, similar to how celestial entities on the show Lucifer, if you've seen that, how they are, to where they can, how they feel about themselves and how they think about themselves in their subconscious can affect them in reality and make them stronger and make them, make their abilities change and whatnot. But even with that, it pissed me off because the Celestials as a thought, not the Celestials, the Eternals as a whole, are so much more powerful than they made any of them seem. Like they made it seem like Icarus is the only one that can fly, and Icarus is the only one that can shoot lasers from his eyes, and anything like that, which is not true because every Eternal can shoot lasers from their eyes, and heat blasts from their hands, and can fly, and are like super durable and can heal themselves and things. Like pretty much every power that they showed all of them having, like outside of Droog's, was like his is like his like that's his unique power. All the rest of their powers, pretty much all of them have. Like all the Eternals can fly. They all can do that. That's not just something only one of them can do. And they made it seem like only they all have one unique power, which is trash. Like Kingo, he can shoot. He can shoot blasts out of his hands. And yeah, Kingo can also shoot blasts out of his eyes and can fly just like Icarus can. But they cut everyone's powers for the sake of making them seem like another Avengers team or similar to an Avengers team where they all have that unique ability that they all have to work together for, even though what they should have been doing was instead of focusing on their powers, since the Eternals all have essentially the same powers, instead of focusing on their powers, focus on the characters, focus on their motivations, okay? Focus on their backstory, focus on the details, not just the action. Okay, an Eternals movie should be character based, not action based, because all of them have very similar powers. Like naturally, they all have very similar powers. They can all heal themselves because they have control over their body. They have like literal control over every atom in their body, like their molecules. So if they want to heal themselves, they can. They all can. It's not just one. It's not just AJ that can do that. Which that wasn't like Ajax having healing. That's not a big thing from the comics because they can all do that. So those of you that think that Ajax is the healer, he slash she was not. And I say he slash she because Ajax as well was always a male in the comic and that was they were making an Eternals movie and that Selma Hayek was a woman. Selma Hayek was cast in that role, and then in the comics they changed it to a woman as well. And explained like I said, every 20,000 years or so they like to change their appearance even though they never said that before. But yeah, just a lot of them movie pissed me off, especially with them not being like real people, and it changed their entire backstory from. For those of you that know what the Great Machine is, that know anything about comics, the Great Machine is what actually keeps the Eternals alive. Every time they die, it brings them back. But what it does is that it takes the life of somebody from Earth and uses it to power their resurrection. Once the Eternals really found out about that, a lot of them didn't like it. But you know, it is what it is, and a lot of them, wanted to keep going as well. But it's just a lot. I'm sorry. It's just a lot that was pissing me off about the movie. The more I think about it, the more it kind of upsets me. And the fact that they even dropped the whole um, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan reference in there, like, oh, Tinkerbell was in love with Peter Pan. Peter Pan was in love with Wendy. Like that pissed me off because Sprite was based on Tinker Pan. Sprite was based on Peter Pan, not Tinkerbell in the first place. Like Sprite was literally based off the character of Peter Pan as like the boy that never grew up, which is why Sprite was always a child and wanted to grow up forever. And they just changed it completely. Like, yo, but thanks, because that's just flat out proving that Marvel as a whole considers their movies more important than they do the comics, which is supposedly what they're basing all of these movies off of. So, in short, to sum up me ranting and raving about this movie, um, Marvel can do better. Everyone that was in that movie, they're all good actors. Okay, not a single person was a bad actor. There was no bad acting, no overacting, anything like that. So as far as the acting goes, okay, great. But as far as the story of the movie, the actual plot and the execution, I feel like it was trash. That's just me. Um, like I said before, at most 4, maybe 5 out of 10. But yeah, Eternals, I can do without it. Probably won't watch it again. But see you guys later. Have a good one.